Right, guys. It is Thursday. I know there's Susan telling me to rush along already. Normally, Susan's in the back, and that's what the signal she's normally giving me that people are getting tired of listening to me ramble and to kind of hurry up and keep going. But it is June. What is it? June 25th today?
Yeah.
Right? June 20, almost 4th of July, and almost time to pay rent, right? So all at once. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Obviously, Trade Industry podcast right here. We over on our new times. I already make a note of that. If you're catching this for the first time at the new time, it is now Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, and we're excited to have not just one great. What did she say?
It's 5 p.m. Central Time, Standard, America's time.
No, 3 p.m. Pacific time, the only time zone that matters. So we got not just one great in the industry, but two greats in the industry on today. Sasha is out riding a forklift at one of his facilities for Founders Fence. So he was going to come on, but I'm like, no, man, just keep doing what you're doing. That's construction and that's fencing, right? We never know. I mean, we can say we're going to be somewhere at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on next Thursday, but we might have had a truck breakdown. We might be out changing a tire, might be on a forklift unloading some materials. So super excited to have you guys here. Dalton, thanks for coming on, man. I know we've had you on like maybe once or twice over the years, but not a lot. So it's really cool to have you on here from High Point Fencing. And then we're going to go over to Mark. Tell everybody about High Point Fence and yourself a little bit.
Okay, so we started actually in the landscaping and large acreage maintenance, and then kind of moved into fencing, probably 7-ish years ago. And that's been a good transition. We can rely on better, higher quality labor than we could in that industry, which is great. And then I've been in construction for, about 10 years, just about. And yeah, I've been with High Point since 2016 also. So.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, and I know we're fortunate enough to. You're also one of our close friends, so we get to chat with you a lot. Like Mark, you're obviously like family to me as well here in California. So, Susan, I think it's like I'm on a podcast with my family in a way here, right? All of us. Yep. So I want to circle back to you and High Point and your whole relationship with your family and the dynamics of that in a second. But Mark, with anybody that's not listening, JC Gurry. Is like a staple in our industry as well. And I know we were running late, and I think one of the reasons also is you're like a staple here when it comes to fence signs and relationship and supporting all the events and everything that we're doing. Even if it's an event you don't go to, I see a lot of your souvenir signs and a lot of your event signs and stuff. So tell everybody about you, Mary. And I feel like everybody watching probably already knows who you are, but tell everybody a little bit about JC Gurry and you and Mark and Mary.
Well, JC Gurry's been around since 1949. They were a service industry where, the pins with your name on it, and back in the day of pocket protectors and that kind of stuff. That's what JC Gurry did. And Mr. Gurry passed away in 1969, I believe. And Mary's dad bought the company in 1970 from Mr. Gurry's widow. And so he took it from a sales, as far as specialty company, to an actual manufacturer, because we were a middleman for fence signs, from the beginning. And Mr. Gurry worked in the fence sign industry all the way back in the 1920s, and we got some of those signs on the wall in the front office. But Mary's dad actually took it from being a middleman to actually bringing production in-house. And so it's just improved and gotten bigger, and throughout the years. So it's been 56 years in the same family, Mary's family. So she's the boss, and she's done a very good job of keeping everybody in line. And we do a little more than just the fence industry, though. The fence industry is our longest industry that we've worked in, but we're really big in the security industry, porta potties, access control, garage doors, overhead doors, that type of stuff. But the fence industry and the security industry are neck and neck with the amount of business that we do. Yeah. And we try to give back to all the industries. We try to support everybody. We go to the trade shows. We'll sponsor we'll do the collector signs and stuff. Just we like to be involved. It's all part of the family, and so that's it's still going, and we're expanding. We moved into a new facility. We made some major changes in production, and we're getting more into automation as far as that increases our speed, so our lead times are dropping. We're getting a little more competitive with those digital guys that can crank stuff out in a day or two, but it's definitely not the quality of what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's nice. When you get the quality at the speed of the guys that are doing it poorly, then you've really kind of hit something on there. But like you were saying, I know you serve other industries besides the fence and the gate industry, but I think the fence and the gate industry is kind of like the Pacific time zone. It's the only thing that matters. So
exactly.
Right.
We do have the most fun in the fence industry.
So Susan K. Worley. So tell everybody about you. I mean, I know if you watch anything or follow us at all, your name at least pops up on there or something, either through a comment or a post. Susan, I don't know if it always shows up the same on everybody's screens. She's on my top left. I don't know if she's out on everybody else's.
On my top left.
Okay.
Yeah, I set it up. This is actually the lead screen, if you notice. Whoever's running the whole show gets popped up right here. No, I'm Susan K. Worley. I am part of Fence Workers Association and the Fence Show and Security Expo. Pretty much if you shoot an email to any of our Fence Show emails or FWA emails, I'm probably who answers them. If you call our numbers, I'm probably who picks up because it calls my cell phone. And
so when I
don't think I do much else than that.
So I mean, let's go way back. When I found Susan bartending at this dive bar on the street from my house, I'm like, I saw the talent in her. I said
Yeah.
You could do more than
a real
serve
bar
drinks.
witch she was.
I'm like, you could do more than serve drinks. All right. No, it was definitely it's been since the beginning you've been there with us and all this, so that's pretty cool. But we are here to talk about I know we're running a little late. I was actually, who I was talking to today?
No.
I know when people say that, like you're gonna like. I think everybody should make a guess, right? But anybody listening, drop it in the comments if you had their guess right. I just got off the phone with Sean Bahinsky. That's what I was talking to when we were going at 3. And he was in the car driving from Chicago because everybody knows that. I don't know if everybody's aware that he doesn't work at CMM anymore. He's with is Empire Fence, I believe it is. So reach out to Empire Fencing. It's more of I think it's a wholesale distributor. Reach out to if you haven't heard from him, reach out to Sean. Ask him what's up, because you know how nerve-wracking it is when you go somewhere new. Let him know that we all still care. Even though he's not selling routers anymore, right? But
Sean who?
We'll still see him. I know we'll probably still see him over at the show and stuff, popping in and stuff, but it won't be in the same capacity as before. But let's take a look at some of the stuff that we had outlined for today, though. It's kind of a cool subject because I think it applies to. It's funny you mentioned the other industries and stuff, Mark, earlier, because we say pre-construction meeting or pre-construction. I mean, that applies to far more than just pre-construction for a general contractor or for a fence or any kind of construction projects. I mean, we do pre-construction meetings for the Fence Show and Security Expo. You, Mark, do pre-construction meetings for your orders before they go into the shop, right? So. Yeah, but one of the reasons I was thinking this was a great topic as well for Dalton is you guys focus a lot on projects where if you weren't doing pre-construction meetings, stuff could actually fall apart on some of them, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Most of our projects, there are many other trades on site, and we're working mostly through GCs to try and herd all those cats and get the project done successfully. So yeah, there's a ton of pre-construction and during construction meetings that happen.
Yeah, because I think when most people hear pre-construction, there's a lot of them in the industry. Your eyes glaze over, and you're like, "Oh, what? I mean, what do you just want us to get together and just look at the work order, right?" But there's a lot more than just getting together and looking at a work order. What's the biggest misconceptions people have about you think about pre-construction meetings?
I would think most people think it's boring, unnecessary paperwork and unnecessary meetings. And while it can be boring at times, it's certainly not unnecessary. The way I look at it it's cheaper to try and solve a problem before you're on site, before you've mobilized out there, than it is to have a crew sitting on location just burning money.
Yeah, and it happens quick.
Oh, yeah.
Mark, you've got a little experience in this. You're. Sometimes people think you're in the sign industry and sign business, but you haven't just been in the sign industry, sign business. You go into the plumbing, landscaping. You go back quite a ways into construction. Has any of this played a factor in any of those?
Well, yeah, I a lot like Dalton. I owned a landscape company for 24 years, and we were pretty good size. And we had 80 guys and 30 trucks, and we did the construction and the commercial maintenance like Dalton. Did a lot of fence back in the day, but it was all part of the landscape. It wasn't, you weren't out bidding fence by itself. And so when the pre-construction, like Dalton said earlier, if you got crews sitting there not doing anything, you're just racking up dollars and running back and forth to pick up parts, or you can't make any money that way. It all has to run, and you have to play well with others when you're in construction, because when I was in landscaping, we were the very first people there sleeving jobs before anything else gets done, and then you're the very last guys coming in with the fence guys if you're not doing the fence at the very end of the project. And so you have to do a lot of coordination and other people holding you up. And so if you don't play well with other guys, you can definitely lose a lot of money. Yeah. But we carry that over. We owned a plumbing company for 20 years as well, which we just retired about a year ago. But all of that carries over right into what we do here. We have production meetings every week. If we go out there and print 2,000 signs with the wrong phone number on them, or any of that, if people don't know what the right hand's doing, the left hand's doing, and the legs, you end up with just not making any money, because you're either doing something wrong or you're running backwards and steps are out of whack. And so that planning is the only way that you can be successful.
So what, I guess pre-construction, I talked earlier a little bit about pre-construction meetings are different in different industries. So now let's fast forward you to the sign company, and then Dalton, obviously with the fence, and not just fence, it's construction. Basically you do, your level, Dalton, you're almost like a contractor, right? And you're talking about getting into stuff a little heavier than just installing some chain link fence. So what do you think define what your pre-construction meeting on the fence sign or any kind of sign business would be?
Well, on our side, pre-construction meeting is we have a production meeting. So we've gone through, we've already got the art approved, we've got the proofs approved, and now we have everybody in every department is there to go over what is going to happen with that job. So that's on a weekly basis. It's every Thursday, and that's all the jobs that are coming up for the week. And so it's all broke down. And so if production sees that, oh, wait a minute, we got a problem here, this isn't going to work, it's all worked out right then and solved. And so, that's an absolute must, because you can't sell a sign with the wrong phone number on it. Now it's going from, a $3 sign to 5 cents worth of scrap metal. So, it's, yeah.
We know that feeling with fence materials. We could fill a recycle bin up with cut off posts and stuff we ordered wrong and stuff like that. And it's like $5,000 worth of materials in there, and you get like, what, $80? Right? So, Dalton, let's talk about your pre-construction meeting. Just a typical one. I know they're a little different depending on what the project is, but how would that go down? Is that something that goes down on site? Is something goes down in your office? What would be a typical pre-construction meeting for High Point?
It depends. If it's with our crews internally, that happens in the office. It's going over the job sheet, going over any special safety procedures, if we need to wear FR clothes or gas monitors or anything like that. The real basic stuff, just to make sure our guys have what they need, the right material loaded up, all that fun stuff. If it's on a project, either with a GC or if we're subbing to other guys, different scopes, it's usually starts with the plans and making sure we're all on the same page with the plans. Then going into the scope, exactly who's doing what, when it's supposed to be happening, and then again hitting on any safety issues, stuff that you need to call out that might be different than either you normally see or different than they might normally see, and just making sure everybody's on the same page that this is the whole project, this is the piece you're doing. We need to get to the whole project and make sure everybody can get there.
Have you ever had a project where you were ready to get going, you did this pre-construction meeting, and then everything just came to a halt? Like something was so far off, I don't know what it was, materials, crews, you just said, you call the customer, we can't start.
Yeah, it's happened before. Usually it's either material issue, that when we're not providing materials, or another trade that was there before us that just so royally screwed something up compared to what we were expecting that we got to step back and kind of start over with that plan as to how we're going to tackle it.
So
well, what's something that every contractor can do before to maybe not have that halt? Like, is there something they can do and prepare for before the meeting?
Know what your scope is and go over the plans.
Yeah.
That's a big one, right?
Yeah, don't clean out the concrete truck in the planter beds. Right?
Yeah, exactly. No, and something that's big for me is, especially on more complicated projects where there's more trades and more stuff happening, is don't just tunnel vision on your scope. Look at what the whole project is. Not because you're going to go do the electrical work, but is there electrical work happening near where your fence line is? Mm-hmm. That might be good to know. Maybe they're burying a line and it's going to end up, or we have grounding all the time at cell towers and substations, right?
Yeah.
That grounding, if the electricians didn't look and say, hey, there's a fence going here, guess where they ran their ground line? Directly under every single pier, every hole we're going to drill. And it happens all the time. But that's one thing I would say is look at the big picture. What else is happening near where you're working that could impact you?
Yeah. If you're ever curious where the irrigation lines are, just call and have a fence installed.
Exactly, right?
Every single line, right?
Yeah, irrigation and your telecom. The internet is always right along the fence.
And now it's an emergency too. Now it's like the internet goes down. It's not like I miss the old days when I first started. Everything was overhead. Remember that? Those were glorious days, wasn't it? Everything was overhead, and you could see the power coming right over into the top of the houses over here. And only thing that was underwater was basically underground was sewer and water. That was it. And
gas.
if it had gas, but I mean, if it was old. Yeah, there was no gas. A lot of times it was just everything overhead, and I miss those days, man. And even the phone lines would come in, the data lines, everything was coming in overhead. Now all of a sudden they buried it all, and they buried it all. Guess where? Right on the fence line.
Yeah.
So Susan, though, let's. This is perfect to have you on here too. So we talk about pre-construction. How many pre-construction meetings do you have for the fence show? And then I want to talk about the big one that I know we have every year that goes up it's typically a week or two out before the show that we have with the property. So everybody understands the pre-construction meeting can happen anywhere, any business you have going on. If you're listening, doesn't matter what you're doing. If you got a project coming up, pre-construction meetings can apply to anything. So tell me about the pre-construction meetings that happen with the fence show.
We probably have one full team pre-construction meeting a month. That really focuses on where we're at, where we're going, what we're missing. Brian has this format that he believes is the bell-all system. And as long as the marks are checked, then we're on pre-construction planning. If they are not checked, we have not met pre-construction planning. But we do meet every single week regularly to go into deep dives into each section. But as far as our overall big team meeting, we do a monthly one. And then, like you said, I want to say it's actually 5 days before the show opens. We have an entire pre-con meeting with the entire property, AV, the Expo Services Company, food and beverage, hotel directors, everybody. And we go around, we introduce ourselves. We have a packet about that thick that we have to go through that day. and address any issues immediately.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
and that
pretty intense.
and that
It was
normally
very
catches.
intimidating our first time we walked into that meeting. We did not know
Dude,
what we were doing.
our first year, 2023. So we just say, oh, the property wants to do like a pre-con meeting or something before our expo. And I remember walking in there, Susan. We went in there together, and it was like, and of course, this is when this whole thing first started. And I just was like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? There was like I don't even want to say round table, but it's like something you'd see where like it was like us, you know how they set tables up in a big room in like a square, and everybody, and there's like a big open area in the middle, and we come in and they had it all catered with like coffee and donuts and things, but it was just must have been what 30 people in there from the entire hotel property, from the housekeeping to the room reservations to registration to valet to the expo service people, like AV, security. I mean, you name it. The whole in all the suits, everybody's in there, and we're just like going. Oh, but reality is we're their customers, so it wasn't like they were, but it felt like some sort of congressional Senate hearing or something. I don't know. Didn't it at first? We sat there,
it was very scary, very intimidating for sure. We didn't know that we were going to be going line for line, and like it made us recognize, like, okay, we have done all this, and it's in one file that fits into somebody's hand. But it also made us realize those details that we were missing also. So we came into our next one prepared and ready. And we knew, okay, yes, that is correct. That is how much food is being served on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, etc. Yes, this is how many rooms are reserved. Yes, we do have the hotel room block closed now, or it's still open, or whatever we need to negotiate with them right then and there. And it's actually a really great opportunity for us to start discussing the next year right then and there as well, because of how much value we bring to their property and how much value they bring to our show. So.
Yeah. I don't know if everybody heard, we are officially became one of their official events of the property, which means no longer are we rotating. I mean, it used to be a lot of, hey, what dates can we get the whole expo hall? And I mean, our event is one of the bigger events that they do on that property, because we got all 4 expo halls, and we take all the training rooms, those rooms that are offside of the expo. Then we need some banquet room space, and we need other. I mean, there's a lot of space that we've grown into, and we used to have to try to find dates when all that would be available, when there wasn't like one smaller event going on in one of the halls, or some of the rooms were being used for something else. But now they officially blocked that first week of October for us, so we get to now officially announce to everybody that the first week of October is Fence Show Week. You know what I mean? And it's always the same. It's not going to rotate around. You're not going to have to go and look at your calendar, wonder when it is. So that was kind of an exciting thing, that you get to establish your show as being, obviously one of the main national shows that's established at a property like that. So that was kind of cool. But that's just like I said, that's just one case of of when pre-construction meetings kick in. But it could apply to anything. Where do you think though? This could be a blanket for either, any of you three that want to answer that. Where do most scheduling failures actually begin? I know these pre-construction meetings is when we're actually getting ready to go, but scheduling comes into play long before the pre-construction meeting, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the breakdown happens with assumptions. You're assuming that somebody else is doing something when they're not, and that could be a breakdown at any point. But that assumption causes the scheduling failures, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I think clear roles and understanding like where everybody is supposed to be working in unison. I agree.
Yeah. And I think I mean, to kind of go deeper onto that, I think it's because it's really hard. I mean, for us contractors, when we're building timelines, right, of what we think and how long we think, and we have, some people bid projects, per section, some go per lineal foot, some, take a look at it and say, this looks like, I mean, like you said, assumption. We assume that, hey, this looks like, in fact, I'm guilty of that. I'm like, that looks like a 3-day job. Well, how'd you come up with that? It just looks like a 3-day job. Well, how'd you come up with that? All right, man, it's a 3-day job. Okay, let it go.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you got 3 days to finish it, or we're not going to make any money. And they just kind of, and like you said, they're unrealistic timelines that we just kind of sometimes fabricated. So, what do you think the biggest mistakes then contractors are making when I probably just gave you one of the biggest mistakes is me, right? Is when contractors are building a timeline. Besides letting me come up with your timeline, what do you think is the biggest mistake you can make?
I mean, I don't know if it's the biggest mistake, but one we see a lot is your schedule is somewhat reliant on other people, right? Other
Absolutely.
trades, other companies. So you can't fully build your schedule
Yeah.
because this is when we're going to be there. Because
Yeah.
a lot of the time, probably most of the time, that's fluid, that moves, right?
Yep.
Your job as the contractor isn't necessarily to build your schedule; it's to take everyone else's schedule and mesh them all together to get the work done, right? You could have to be on 5 different sites in the month of June, and depending on when other trades are finished, when they're ready for you, that's kind of more your job than actually building the schedule.
Yeah. That's tough.
Well, you could bid 5 jobs a month apart, and they all start on the same day.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just the way that it falls. But you got to stay in communication, right, with the GC, and because fencing's on the end, landscaping was on the end, you know, and they've got an end date for the project, and you always get compressed at the very end. It's
Always.
your fault. You're the last guy coming in. You got to get done, right? And no, you can't do your job till somebody else is finished, right? And so, but you have to really be aware with the you know, of what's going on the job. You can't just say, well, we're starting on this date, and you show up on that date, and you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, we had a compressor station that we were supposed to start in, I think, October, and it got pushed and pushed and pushed because of grading permits. And I think we actually completed that project in April, I want to say, of this year. So, I mean, stuff like that. That was a 2 or 3 week project that got pushed a handful of months because of grading permits. That has nothing to do with us. And yet, it's messing with our schedule.
Yeah, and we get whipped on sometimes as the fence company because, like Mark's saying, sometimes we're like landscaping and fencing. A lot of times, the last 2 that goes into these things, and you know they could have the GC maybe had, I don't know, 3 months contingency in this thing built up, right? And July, you know, say right now, July 1st was when it was supposed to be done, and they burn up all their contingency on the grading guy and other people. And then it gets down to the fencing. They're like, okay, well, this project's supposed to be done by the 1st, and they just give you the go ahead on the 25th to finally start. And you're like, no, I can't do that. And, well, you're going to put in for extra time. Now it's liquidated damages. You got in your contract. Look on paragraph 4 of page 38. It says you're going to put adequate labor on to maintain the schedule, and they start feeding all this crap to you, right? And you've heard before, and now you're in this documentation war of documenting that you couldn't start, documenting every delay, and that's when the documentation comes into play. Like when you reached out to them 30 days ago, and you were supposed to start according to the schedule, and they weren't able to start. You needed to send an email and document it. Hey, we're ready to go, and if they say they're not ready, then a week later you document it again, because that's all extensions of your time. They can't come after you later if you kept trying to go out there. So but speaking of contingency, I think this is great because you both do some landscaping stuff in there, I'm sure, at some point on this, right? But you know, when it comes down to, even on the fencing, we're typically always moving something around, but nonetheless, you think there's a difference in how much contingency we add in for fencing and landscaping? Like, do you add any in, or do you just figure it depends on the job? I mean, how do you pad your if you think it's going to take 2 months worth of labor? I mean, what do you put in there for contingency?
I mean, I don't know if there's a magic number. For us, it depends on the complication of the whole project as to how much time we need to allow. And then, you know, and that's for conflicts with other trades or whatever, you know, scheduling issues, whatever. And then just based on footage, you know, we'll add, I'm throwing a number out there, but we'll add 10% labor contingency for those random problems you run into that, you know, were unforeseen, right? Today we're doing dugouts, and we had to sit and wait for the GC because the foundations weren't quite right. He's got to figure out whether it's going to work or not. That's not our deal. That's why he's getting paid, right? Yeah. So that sit around time and wait, you know, you find an unmarked utility. Yeah. Nice. You're still paying your guys. So that kind of thing. But I don't think there's a magic number. It's something kind of you learn based on experience and how your company operates.
Experience, yeah, that's the same thing. It all depends on the job.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't figure a contingency where we're located on the very end of the job, then yeah, you can get hurt.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we get eaten up a lot. It's funny how there's an issue on a job or something, and and the guys, you find out that a couple drops of rain or something, and something's happening, and they can't work, and then you show up out to the job, and you just roll up to check on them, and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're sitting in the truck. You're like, what's going on? Oh, well, we were waiting on so, and I'm like, so you've been in the truck for 3 hours waiting,
Right.
and you didn't call on the radio and say you weren't able to work or nothing like that. It's weird how that works, isn't it? But but they'll call you if there's a bunch of bees around the hitch or something, and they're having a hard time hooking it up. But they're not going to tell you that they haven't worked in 3 hours. So your contingency eats up fast, doesn't it?
Yep.
Well, we would have meetings, and everything on the labor side was was quoted for X number of man hours, but we would have meetings with the crews and say, this is what you have to get done, right? And if you're not gonna you have any kind of a problem, we need to know about it, because there's no getting that money back. I mean, once you've blown a whole day for nothing, I mean, you don't get it back. And so yeah. And we always had our crews, they're striving to hit a certain, hit their mark. And if they didn't hit their mark, the other crews would look at them like, we're over here and you guys are over there, and we're doing better than you. So it was a little bit of competition, just not to have those kinds of problems, but every company's different.
Yeah. So let's talk for a second about coordinating the trades, and let's try to take some of the knowledge that all of us have and kind of feed it into maybe 3 or 4 things here, and getting everyone moving in the same direction, because obviously it's different. Every company handles things a little bit differently. Every crews are different. I mean, and where you are across the country is different. I mean, Vegas, we're on an island, and it's got to go 4 hours to find anybody else to work. It might as well be in the middle of the ocean, right? So you're dealing with the pool that you have there. So maybe you deal with your installers in the market a little differently. Dalton, you're pretty similar out there. I mean, there's not, you got some cities, but Dalton, you got quite a ways to go, right? Outside of where you're at to find more people. Then you got Mark. He could throw a rock and he could hit 5 million more people, right?
Yep.
Any direction, there's millions more. So it's a different scenario. But to get everybody moving in the same direction and working with multiple trades, what's your solution on that? I mean, how do you, like, if you go out on a project and there is you happen to be kind of tied into coming in right behind the landscaper and the irrigation, and maybe there's a gate operator going in, so the electrical guy's there with the concrete guy, right? And you've got to somehow coordinate this because there's an automatic gate going in or something, right? How do you coordinate that? Do you keep a separate list on that? Do you have a contact list and you regularly talk to them? Dalton, what's your kind of system on that?
I mean, I found the best is to just do a face-to-face meeting on site, and again, sit down with the plans. Even if you mark it out on site, paint it, whatever, and try and get everybody looking. This is exactly what's happening. This is what needs to happen. Here's what you're doing. Here's what you're doing. Great, break. And also as those processes are happening, power for the gate operator ends up on. It happens, but that was something that we could have prevented, right? With meeting and sitting there and talking.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Dalton broke up at your end.
He broke up on ours, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he just froze.
I thought it was me.
Man, I feel like that was some really insightful stuff too.
I know, we lost it all.
And you never blame.
That was probably the only golden nugget of the entire show.
Industry
and it right
secret.
And
now you have to go to his class.
That's right.
That's what it sounded like. So now you got to come to Las Vegas just to find out what Dalton said and go to his class.
Exactly.
Right? October 5th to the 9th in Las Vegas. Get registered at fencshow.com. Dalton, you're going to be teaching a class during this too. Tell me a little bit about that. I know you are working with Veronica and Susan and everybody on this. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I know. I've got a couple classes I'm presenting. Just kind of covering some operation stuff. I know some safety and accountability stuff. So there's a handful in there. Anybody who's in charge of people, you can come to those classes because it's going to cover all that.
Okay.
Yeah. And is it going to be? I mean, well, you do a lot of the working with other trades, so it's going to teach people how to point fingers. Be like, it wasn't my fault; it was that guy's fault. So, I mean, that's a skill, right? It's a skill.
No, it's a very short class of just point, and you're done.
You know? So what's going on here? Why is that fence in the wrong spot? I don't know. It was Jim. I mean, that's where he told us to put it. Who's Jim? He came out of your office. I don't know.
Exactly.
I think he's with the landscaper. You should go talk to them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So speaking of finger pointing, I think that's the hardest part of even when I'm talking to customers that want to have maybe an automatic gate and a fence and something else and have the concrete done or something, and they're always trying to get us to do the whole thing, and why that package is so attractive. And you ever wondered why it's like it doesn't make any sense to you when you're making the bid sometimes, because you're like, all I'm doing is taking his bid, marking it up and adding it to mine and selling it to you, and they know this, but why are they willing to do that? And I've talked to people before, and sometimes the sales pitch is it's because if Dalton is installing the fence and he's also responsible for the concrete operator pads, the concrete for the track, and the gate operator and everything going in, he can't point the finger anymore at that guy because that guy now works for him the same basically as his installers. So do you see that happening sometimes? Like is there an advantage for you as much as it is for the customer when that happens?
I mean, it's certainly the convenience for the customer because then they've only got one point of contact, right? They've now shifted all of the responsibility for the whole project onto, say, me. And then it's my responsibility to make sure everybody else is in line and getting their stuff done. I think that is worth a lot, especially in this day and age. It seems like everybody's so busy doing other stuff. That convenience alone is worth it. But from my point of view, it shifts the blame and the accountability off of anybody else and gives it to me, right?
Yeah.
I am now accountable for, ABC Concrete's work. Well, guess what? I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to ABC Concrete's work now. I'm going to make sure they do it right. And I think at the end of the day, the customer ends up with a better end result than if it was all farmed out separately.
Yeah. I agree. I push for, if it is a project, I try to push and the gate operator and stuff like that. And I explain to them, I mean, you don't have to lie about it. I mean, you're basically getting paid no different than a general contractor that's coordinating other people, and they're charging for that. So if you are ever adding something in there and you're legal, obviously do it legally. Don't illegally contract with people that you're not licensed to do. But as long as it's all done, I feel like I should put it, there should be like a disclaimer at the bottom of my face, right? Because but nonetheless, yeah, you want to make sure you're doing everything the right way, but definitely go in and charge for it, because you are shifting that liability, kind of like what you said over there. And sometimes you end up having to pay the deposits. It's funny how you're bidding it to the general contractor. I know you've gotten into this before, Dalton. I'm sure, Mark, you have, where you got someone else working for you and you've got the big contract. Well, this person working for you is a smaller part of it. He still wants his 50%, and you're now putting out $5,000 for equipment and you haven't even built the job yet.
Yeah, we run into that a lot for government work. They won't put deposits down, so then we're eating it and floating that until the project's done. But that's also why it's important to find subs that are good, that you can count on, because then there's less risk to you. Because again, you are taking on that risk by subcontracting stuff out.
Yeah. And plus, never take somebody's word for it. If they tell you, they want you to do something extra and they'll pay you for it, and you don't do it without a change order.
Nope.
You get it in writing, because you will not get paid.
Yeah, nothing without. I mean, I love that when they try to say, "Oh, you have to do it. You have to do it." I'm like, man, I don't have to do anything. But yeah, I know. But it does complain that's what she'd be doing right now. She's like, "You look too comfortable," right? She hates it when I'm enjoying myself. So,
she was a cheerleader apparently.
But it does speed up the coordination meetings and the documentation. So, one last final thing on this part before we let that talking about working together and moving in the same direction. The documentation, I kind of briefly touched on it earlier. Definitely, if you're doing these type of projects and you're working with anybody, that whether it be the general contractor and you got subs involved, documentation is probably the number one thing. You may think you don't need it, but how many times have you went back, either one of you guys, and referenced some sort of documentation that you did 6 months earlier, whether it was a photo,
absolutely.
whether it was something. What do you do for documentation, Dalton?
I mean, photos of everything before you even get there on site. Send somebody out there to take photos. Having copies of everything as far as your contract scope, having all that ready, and then any change, any issue, anything that was unforeseen gets photos and documentation, and you save
Yep.
all that, and you save it forever because who knows when you might need it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that I know I'm asking all the questions, Susan, because Sasha, I know I feel like I'm hogging it, but this is a subject that I love. I mean, it's kind of cool. Yeah.
That's why I'm letting you have the spotlight. But I do have it documented about the raise you promised me.
Oh,
Did you take pictures?
Well, according to my note, it says you are full of BS. But yeah, that's my note. I got it right here.
You got it right there.
I noted it. So I do want to bring up though, we're talking about, and sometimes people are listening and thinking this is just because I know Las Vegas Fence does commercial industrial. You guys do a lot of commercial industrial. Mark, you've done a lot throughout the years. So when we're talking as if it sounds like we're talking about large projects where there's tons and tons of trades. This applies though, I believe, to whether you're just going out and working directly for the property owner, whether it's a homeowner or not. So what principles that we were talking about here do you think apply to just the average fence job? I mean, forget about all the trades and subs and stuff. What do you think what applies over to a normal job?
I mean, documenting everything.
Exactly. Same pictures, same documents. Yep.
Yeah, and obviously on a simple project with less moving parts, there's going to be less to document. At the same time, still do it. Get in the habit of doing it if you're ever on a site with more stuff going on.
But if you're dealing with the homeowners, if you're working with homeowners, because we did a lot of custom houses, you have to really kind of do a little hand holding though, because customers don't. I mean, a GC knows a whole lot more about the construction job, than a homeowner is going to, and so you got your scope of work has to be spelled out, and what is your responsibility, because when they see your price, they sign a contract, and a lot of times they include a lot of stuff in their head that's not there.
No, that's a great point, Mark. I mean, you should have on your contract everything you're including and everything you're excluding. I mean, stuff like, are you going to hand dig holes, or are you going to hydrovac holes, or is that an add-on?
Exactly.
Anything? Are you rock drilling? Do you foresee yourself having to rock drill? I don't care. Put it in an exclusion then. Right?
Yeah.
Like anything to cover your ass and make sure that you're not footing the bill at the end of the day.
Oh yeah. We've had to jackhammer out holes for plants and trees. I mean, there is in the DG where you cannot use a shovel, and you have to cover that stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
And otherwise, now your labor costs have gone up 30% because, you're still got to put the stuff in the ground, but if you didn't make provisions for it in the beginning, the customer doesn't want to cough up any more money.
Yeah. And we got a project going right now where we went out and installed the job. Customer, it was a great job, all that, and then we get a call, and all that was wrong was the lock. The type of handle they used on the gate wasn't what they, he's saying, oh, the salesman said this and the salesman said that. And then I'm looking at the paperwork, and it wasn't documented exactly what type of lock, what type of latch, all this stuff, right? So then you got your sales guy saying, which was actually when it went and actually it was at the hardware store. I called the customer and I asked him whether he wanted a knob or whether he wanted a handle, and the customer said he wanted a handle. And I believe all that happened, right? So then they purchased there was a couple locks or handles with the handles on them. They go and they install those. Meanwhile, kind of what we're talking about, you sent your crews there. So it's not just a $50 handle. It's one that you sent a crew that's, billed out at thousands of dollars a day out to install after the fact, right? So then you install it, and then you're trying to collect it, and you get another call, and now they're angry, and they're like, because maybe the guy you were dealing with, boss, says, well, I told the salesman I wanted the handle, and here's a picture of the handle I wanted. the job's been done for a while. It's been closed out. We got a signature on it, right, saying it's been done, and the closeout document, and they're saying this is a picture one. First time we've seen it. First time anything's ever been documented about the type of lock and stuff. And now you've got a unhappy customer, or it's going to cost. Now this one little $50 lock is now costing you $1,000 if you want to make the customer happy, right? So it's amazing what that little note on the order form or a picture or anything, instead of doing a verbal over the phone, hey, do you want a doorknob or you want this? It should have been a message, and then it should have been, here's a picture of what we're going to provide, and that would have been a $1,500 savings on an email, right?
Well, and even if you have that phone call, let them know, hey, I'm going to follow this up with an email. Confirm that this is what we talked about. We do that all the time.
Yeah, per our conversation. If I had $1 every time I have an email that started off saying per our conversation, you should just that should be burnt into your mind, per our conversation. Now it doesn't, if they reply back anything at all, they just agreed to whatever you talked about on the phone, and then you documented it anyway on your email. Per our conversation, you said you wanted blue RAL number 40556, and then you leave it at that, right?
Is that why you don't answer any of my emails?
I don't want anything documented. Yeah.
Right.
We logged all of our phone calls, were in our CRM. And so, you typed in real quick even a simple phone call was always, all right, talked about this, you gave approval for that. And then you can follow up with the email. But then you can search it really quick, on your CRM, your call dates and stuff. But documentation is the key. And it's so much easier today with cell phones and everything else. Back in the day, we had disposable cameras we had to give to the crews, right? And no matter what, they had to go out there and take the pictures, and then we had to get them developed. And it progressed when digital cameras came, but now there's no excuse for not documenting the job.
Right.
I feel like we should make like a video of that, Dalton, and we should give our crews like those disposable cameras, and just start handing them out and say, we need to start taking pictures with this from now on, and just have them look at them and go, what is this? Right?
Exactly.
I'm worried about some of the pictures we might get back.
What if they doing that on the fence show, having just a bunch of disposable cameras we hand everybody and they just drop it in the bin on the way out?
That'd be fun.
We did that originally with the crews, so that if they ever had any accidents, that's how we started. There was disposable cameras in every glove box, so if they got in a fender bender or whatever, somebody got hurt, they could snap all the pictures. But then it progressed to then job photos and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I got one more thing. I want to do a full throttle challenge question before Susan gets into the full throttle education preview stuff. So so this is for both of you guys. If you could force, and I feel like we kind of went over a lot of this already, but if you could force every contractor in America to do one thing before starting a project, what would it be?
I would say probably a job walk with everybody, every trade that touches the work you're doing, at the beginning of every single project and then throughout every single project, just so everybody's on the same page.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I would agree with you. Also, I would get contact information from the guys that directly affect you.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier to get on a phone call and say, hey, Joe, this is going on here. If you have to go through the GC or anything on a commercial job, there's a time lag that happens. But if you can avoid, the finger pointing and all that with a quick phone call, that's what we used to do. We would just, if there was somebody who was going to, the concrete guy on the curbs or, something, the electrician that, if you get on a first name basis, at least you have a contact. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
I guess mine would be make sure every person in the truck reads the work order before they leave the yard. I don't care if it's the helper, if it was the guy that you just, and if he's only been there a day, 2 days. I think I'm the first one to say slow down in the morning, and everybody's always in such a rush sometimes to get out of the yard, and they don't double check their tools, the trucks, and all that stuff is going out. So I think that if you've got, whether it's one guy or four guys in that truck, and sometimes you got double, four doors and 2 guys to 4 guys going, I think that if that work order wasn't sitting in each one of those guys' hands for 5 minutes while they read it, something could go wrong, because sometimes even that new guy will catch something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's it for that. But Susan, let's talk about some full throttle education. Let's do some preview stuff. I know I feel like we really kind of berated them with questions already. So without getting them too deep into questions, look at his cameras doing that cool thing. Huh?
Oh, it's just moving.
Huh? I guess all of our cameras have that
I'm a
ability.
cameraman.
Who was doing that the other day in one of our meetings? I don't remember.
Yes, and I didn't like it, and I made them turn it off because it kept getting closer to his face.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to figure out how to turn it on. Yeah, that way I could be standing behind us, walking around, and the camera would be following me while we're talking. I could be on the dry erase board asking questions, but examples on there. Let's talk about the full throttle education. Dalton, we're super excited you're going to come and teach some of these classes. And obviously, anybody that enjoyed this conversation at all, imagine that when you really got everybody sitting there with some workbooks and being able to raise your hand and ask some questions. And you know what? Don't raise your hand. Just belt your questions out if you want.
So raise your hand, please.
We encourage the heckling, but Dalton, you suck. No, don't do that.
I know you had mentioned what they can kind of expect from your classes and who should attend, but what's one thing you think that the attendees will actually be able to immediately take back to their businesses and implement?
I think accountability, whether that's you with other contractors or you with your team. I think that's going to be a big focus. And not like, reprimanding, but just everybody being on the same page, and building that communication between all your folks.
It's a big deal. That's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Are we doing rapid fire? I say we do some rapid fire.
I say it's time for rapid fire.
Rapid fire. I purposely did not go down. I never read the rapid fire questions prior. I don't even know where Susan gets them, but because I think it's better if I don't read them in advance, and then in case I want to answer one honestly too.
No, we got to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to rotate between both of you guys on this one. So Mark, I'm going to start with you. Okay.
Okay.
One scheduling tool every contractor should use.
Pencil and paper. No. We were old school back in the day, but definitely, timelines for me is super important. And it's the same thing in the sign business, right? We've got constant jobs. We've got 40 jobs going on at one time in the shop, and it all has to go in a certain order, right? And so that's why every morning, of course, we've got a great production manager, and he'll sit there and just line out the whole day, and he does it in like 10 minutes, right? And everybody knows what's going on, but without that little 10 minutes of scheduling, right, things could go quite wrong.
So your tool would be scheduling. Whether it's pencil and paper, Excel, whether it's one of the software programs that are out there.
Right.
I think we can all kind of agree on that. And talk about your foreman out there. Does anybody know how long his foreman's worked for him? 40 years. 40 years.
40 years.
40 years. Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, you got to have one hell of an outfit to keep someone 40 years, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we are. We've got a printer who's been here 37 years, 25 years. I mean, it's Mary's been here 45 years.
Odds are, if you took over your parents' fence company and they used to order their signs from J.C. Gurry before you took over, odds are
I'm really young. Hi, Dalton.
Odds are it's the same people making them, is what I'm trying to say.
Right?
How crazy
That's crazy.
That is nuts, right?
I mean,
Sorry.
it speaks volumes to the ship you guys are running, right?
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
We have the best team. Bye.
big rapid fire.
That wasn't so rapid.
Okay, so this one's for you, Dalton. Rapid fire round, fast answers. Biggest pre-construction mistake.
Ooh, I would say not understanding your scope and having it in writing in your contract.
Yep. Fair
Or
enough.
underbidding the job.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Mark,
We hope we got past that point.
Yeah.
I still haven't got past that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still trying to
Oh,
work
it
past
happens.
that one. So Mark, coffee, energy drink, or both?
Oh, both. I'm good for 2 cups of coffee and 3 monsters in the day. Right?
I made coffee, and this is probably my 3rd or 4th one. I've got to get back on that morning. You do
Full
energy
of
drinks?
monster. Full of monster.
Yeah. Are you a coffee drinker, Dalton?
If I have time, yes, I usually go for the energy drink because I can just pop it out of the fridge and take it.
Yeah, and do it quick. Okay, so Dalton, one habit that separates great project managers from the average ones.
Communication.
Communication.
Yeah.
I mean that's what'll make or break both the project and the relationship between contractors.
Awesome. Only 2 more, you guys. This one's for Mark. One reason contractors should attend the fence show.
Because they need to buy fence signs in booth 715.
Shameless plug. I love it.
So you're talking about for the show specials on your fence signs. Is that what it is?
Yeah, we are going to have some show specials, right? And we
Nice.
are going to be able to, design right there, for people who, if they got logos or anything else, we're going bigger and better. We're going full throttle.
Full throttle. Hey, Dalton, one last question. Favorite project you've ever worked on?
That's a tough one.
Yeah. I don't know how I would answer it.
Yeah. Favorite project. It was both my favorite and my most hated. We did a project that was it was buildings for some endangered ferrets, and we did footings and the whole the pen structure. It was basically a steel building, and instead of tin, it had wire. But that was both full of headaches and just massive pains. But seeing it done and being able to do that project was pretty cool.
Yeah. That'd be a cool project. I did a gorilla cage once.
Nice.
And that was kind of cool because we had to we built the cage. Obviously it was all heavy wire, it was bolts, nuts, but we had to weld every nut and bolt because the gorillas were so strong that they could actually undo. And even if you got it in there with an impact, you couldn't use a wrench or pliers or a socket or anything to tighten it to the point where they couldn't undo it with their fingers. So that was kind of a cool project, but scary at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Because if you screwed something up, right, they could tear this apart and get out, I guess. So that was my gorilla cage. It's funny how it's animal related for both of us, right? And we get hardly any thing. I see Kent down in San Diego. I don't know if you follow any of his stuff, but he does all the stuff at the zoos and stuff. Have you seen some of those?
Yeah.
Those are crazy to watch.
Yeah, we're actually getting into some more work at our local zoo, and it's fun work for sure. I mean, it's totally different than regular commercial work.
Yeah. So Dalton, Mark, thank you for joining Susan and I.
Sure.
It was really cool. Anybody that's listening, if you're serious about improving project execution, profitability, reducing headaches, you don't want to miss Dalton's full throttle education series and sessions that he's got going on at the show. It's just from this conversation alone, hell, I'd like to sit down and have you give me some advice on projects I got going. So
we've sat down a couple times and talked back and forth. So
I know. It's the blue bar. We gotta meet at the blue bar.
So yeah, afterwards we'll all be meeting at the blue bar, and you can get some more answers on stuff. Susan, how are people going to get registered for this, and how do they sign up, and and get more information to not just go to the sessions and see Dalton and all the other. There's over 30 or 40 instructors of this thing now. This is the most full throttle, groundbreaking educational series that we've ever put together at a show. So how do people get involved and find out? And I hear you're looking for, you got a few last minute instructors for a few classes, and this might be a good chance to.
Yes, email me, Susan@finshow.com, or give me a call. My phone number is all over social media. If you go to finshow.com, you can also reach out. You can see the instructors that are currently instructing and vote on them. You can register for the Fin Show. Full throttle passes are $150 right now. That's a deal.
Wow. How much?
Price is $150. That includes a t-shirt, food and beverage, all the education, including Dalton's class. What? Crazy.
That's crazy.
And you know what? If you get a full throttle pass, I can either make sure Brian speaks to you or doesn't speak to you, depending on your
Just let her know.
Check the box.
You should put that on there.
Yeah.
And give everybody a sticker so I know who to avoid, right? That doesn't want to talk to me.
Not me. I love it.
It'd just be everybody that works for us would have one of those on. But so $150, this is unheard of education for $150. I mean, Susan, that can barely even cover the cost of doing the education. I mean, that's great because I could drink and eat $150. So right?
It's true. It's definitely priced to let people know that we care about their education. We care about small, medium-sized businesses. We care about this industry and helping it grow. So.
Yep. And so last but not least, you guys, what's the call to action right now, you guys? Get over to finshow.com, right?
Absolutely.
And get registered for the Fence Show, upgrade to the full throttle pass. If you've already registered in the past, you can actually go and go to the same registration page at the top. You can click on, I believe it's log in or something to your account, and it's going to send you a magic link, they're called, if you've ever done any of those, to where give you a link to log in, and you can actually upgrade your pass from a regular pass to a full throttle if you want while the passes are still discounted, and do that. And you can vote for your favorite instructors as well. Dalton, you're on there. Everybody, there's a lot of instructors in there. We're voting for your favorite instructor. I haven't looked at it today, but it was growing pretty quick. So that's pretty cool. So everybody, fenshow.com, get registered. And remember, if you learned anything today, the fastest projects aren't always the best planned projects, right? Right.
What about
Great
best fence sign? Just saying.
Great planning.
Where'd you come from?
Lets you go full throttle when it matters, you guys. Mary, get back over here. Mary.
Am I in trouble?
He's coming. You can tell we share an office.
We share an office, so I'm just a sidekick.
We were just talking about what an amazing company that you and your father and everybody has built. The fact that you've got your shop supervisor, everybody's 40 years. You've got people coming on 37 years and the 20s. I know if anybody's ever been over to J.C. Gurry's office, you'll see this wall of fame, we call it. And it's pretty cool. You see, there's a whole stack of people that have been there 10 years, a whole stack that have been there 20, a bunch that have been there 30. Now you're seeing I think you see one or two people starting on the 40-year line, if I remember last time I was there.
And they're all signs. We kind of make signs, so their names on signs.
Yeah, it's a sign on the wall, but that's kind of cool. So I know you'll be running some show specials coming up at the Fence Show. Yep. We appreciate all your support. If you follow anything we're doing, you'll see Mark and Mary and J.C. Gurry all over it, because you guys are just amazing for our industry. And, I know you guys have been someone we've really leaned on for assistance and stuff too. So thank you guys for what you do. Dalton, we'll see you shortly. Susan,
bye, guys.
Next Thursday, 3:00 Pacific time. We'll see you guys back here. Same time, same bat channel. See you guys later.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye.